What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and this video I want to talk about the review scores for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. The remake, obviously, actually is out today that you guys are seeing this video. Review scores went up for it yesterday in terms of critics. Now, I didn't review it. I don't have, an early copy or anything of the game. So we're going to be talking about what the reviewers were saying. I really like making these videos. I like making predictions of what these games are going to get. I like talking about what they got. And it always, honestly, to me, is an interesting discussion with games that are remakes or remasters, anything that is basically just the same game repeated, and where you judge something like that. And I think that's kind of what I always get upset about. I should also say that I don't go based off review scores for anything that I get. Okay, if I like a game, I like it. I'm not going to let a review score dictate it. But as I always say, I know a lot of people do look at review scores, and that's completely cool. So the game right now is standing at an 88 on Metacritic, or an 8.8, whatever you want to say, out of 100. So that's really good. Now, you'll remember that the original Tony Hawk Pro Skater, at least the second game, I believe is like at a 98 on Metacritic. It's like the second highest sports game ever created, or actually the second or third highest game even on Metacritic. I mean, that game just did an amazing, and I remember, I'm not a diehard Tony Hawk fan, okay? I'm not a big skateboarding guy, but I do remember growing up having this game, playing it. My cousin actually had this game, and every year, sometimes we'd go over like for Christmas Day, and he would always be playing it, literally year after year. I'm not even making that up. So this game is a game that I do definitely remember from my childhood. They've obviously, the skateboarding genre of video games has definitely gone through a lot of mainly downs over the last like 10 or so, 10, 15 years. But these games are very special. They're very special to a lot of people, even if, maybe not me. And that's kind of what I find interesting about a review score like this. So what are the positives? Well, it seems like many people are saying, you know what, this does the original justice. It doesn't try to throw in kind of brand new things that really like break the game. There are a couple new things thrown in, and I think that's kind of where the review scores get a little messy. I've seen some reviews talking about how the biggest weakness is, again, like lack of innovation, and maybe not necessarily that, but how basically the game may not hold up in all aspects right now that it did back then. And again, to that, I will always say, and that's why I like talking about these remakes, remasters that do this, what I'll always say is, well, the question is, what are you trying to do with the game? Okay, so for a game like this, is it a game you're supposed to try to replicate what's done before? Like, you're literally just trying to do that again. And, a lot of things like draw distance and just visuals alone, okay, what the game can actually handle, the physics, the breaking different things, all that stuff. I mean, that's obviously been upgraded, right? But the core skateboarding mechanics you would expect to kind of be the same as, the game, like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, the gameplay still largely holds up, I would say. And I think the people that are, again, getting this kind of know that, right? They know that that's kind of what they're expecting. At the same time, I could see, and because I've been talking about the Mafia remake, Mafia Definitive Edition quite often, I could see the other side of it where people say, okay, well, I do also want a Tony Hawk game for 2020. So I kind of want the gameplay to represent that. But I think the gameplay of these games are so good, and I think that's one of the main pillars. I think there was a lot, a soundtrack, a lot of the different just things you could do in that game. I think there's a lot of different aspects that make those games so special and hold up for so long and make them, again, some of the greatest games ever created. But I think the gameplay is a large part of that. I think the gameplay has stood the test of time, obviously connected with people back then, and there's a reason why it's been copied and kind of been failed to copy, right, in all the bad versions that we've gotten over the last, again, like 10, 15 years. And now, we see a return to that. So it is an interesting and kind of split battle when it comes to the review scores like that, because do you want this game to be a replica of the originals, or do you want it to take that like life and kind of do also some new stuff with it, make it updated for 2020? But then again, you get into the conversation of, well, are the additions that they added, do they mess it up? Do they make it actually worse? And I think overall what you're seeing across the board, I mean, there's a lot of 10s. There's some 10s. There's some 90, or I guess 10 out of 10s or 100s. There's some scores in the 9s. There's some scores in the, and then it goes down. I mean, all of the scores as of right now are like classified in green, which means like they're good. I think that means that you have to have, I feel like at least like a 75 or higher. I think if you go to a 70 or somewhere in that range, then you start to go to like that yellow territory. So overall, I think this game is massively loved. It's interesting though, because you look at the original, and yeah, I mean, it did get like a 98. So these games are very high up there, and then the remake, or this game right now gets it's at an 88. So obviously there is some drop. So whether that's people that again are disappointed with the product, that dropped just a little bit, but I know I'm focusing a lot on the negatives. Look, this game is very good. I think, and that's kind of why I started this by saying review scores don't really matter. And honestly, for a game like this, I think review scores kind of matter even less, because the people that were fans of the original, I think they're very likely to get something like this, right? You're not going to really stop them from getting this. The game is also at what I believe $40, so it's not even a full price game. The game is still the game that we all remember. So again, the diehards are going to get it. And then again, if you're brand new to it, you're probably going to look to those originals and say, man, they were so well received. As long as this game didn't radically change things, or again, if that's where your standpoint is, then I think this is a game for you. So this is great. We're in the midst of some really solid games coming out. All these remakes, all these remasters that we've gotten over the last several years. This is another one that you can put on and say, you know what, they did a fantastic job. Add it to the list of just some of the really good remakes / remasters. Next, we have Kingdoms of Amalur, that remastered game. We have the Mafia Definitive Edition. I mean, there's actually quite a few. We have the Mass Effect remaster. There's actually quite a few more remasters / remakes coming, even just in 2020, and I guarantee you that this won't be the last year of these kind of games. So very exciting. Guys, let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Do you side with the review scores? Do you think an 88 is solid? Where would you, what would you review these games? Do you guys have this game yet? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments below. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed to this YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when all these videos go up, and thank you guys so much for watching. Have fun with this game if you have it, and I hope to see you guys all in the next video.